Alright, so it's raining on us again, because this is what happens apparently when I try to do garden work, which is way better than it being super hot, which is what it was last year, even in May, and what it was when we first started planting this garden in like the first week in May. But I'm going to show you what I'm doing. All right, our raised beds. I just added another big scoop of rabbit poop and hay to that bed. This bed got 2 bags of this raised bed garden soil, which is totally not my favorite at all, but it is what I have that I can get around here for a decent price. It's from Costco. Last year it was absolute crap. That's what I put in these beds, and then I had like nothing growing, at least not this well, last year. And then I added some really aged raised bed soil that I had mixed myself, and then I used it for a while. I'm gonna get weeds out while we talk. I used it for a while and it got full of weed seeds, and now we are dealing with weeds, but all of the other things I planted in here are growing great. So I'm really hoping that it's better this year. I'm gonna put my celery in this bed. I'm going to hope that it just sits on the top and its roots go into my rabbit poop, because that should fix whatever issues the soil has. And then I'm gonna add some of our compost from our compost bin way over there that is broken, and all of the compost, which is mostly eggshells and leaves, are coming out. It's not really the best compost, but I'm gonna put it in here and in here and here and here. So, all right, so we got this bed full of dirt and rabbit poop, whatever else we put in it, and we got our celery in, which was long overdue, very root bound. We'll see what it looks like. I've also got these little basil plants that I can get it to focus on. They are Thai basil. They've been in 3/4 inch soil blocks for way too long, and we're gonna plant some of them here and chop their tops off and see if they take off. Guess we need to get some scissors or something to chop the tops off. But we're putting them on this, which is the east side of this bed, because it gets hotter on this side, and I didn't want to put the dill or the celery that close to the place that gets the hottest, so we went with the little Thai basil. Part of the reason I'm putting this here is because basil and dill, for that matter, should help keep pests away from celery. Okay, so we also cut all these yellow leaves off of our celery, and Annie's going to take those and feed them to the rabbits, along with the little flowers we chopped off of the basil. Feels like cheating getting this bed that full in 20 minutes, but it's that's what happens when you wait a really long time to plant stuff. Our dill looks kind of sad, but I'll show you the dill. It looked just like this. It was from the same tray, and I planted it in the ground when I did the tomatoes about a week ago. I'll go show you that. It looks much better. Okay, it looks kind of better. It actually does, though. Like the tops that were so tall, there were some over here. They just kind of died off, and its color is getting greener, and it's looking a lot better. This one looks good. Look at this. That's some nice dill. It's spreading out. We've also got some of that basil. I didn't pinch these when I planted them. Probably should have. And they are branching out, getting new little side shoots. I don't really care that much if they do really well and get big. I planted them for just pest deterrence and weed control. And I'd like them to get big enough to shade out some weeds. So we'll see. All right, so we emptied the contents of our broken compost bin, which is, the wind is really picking up, which was more composted on the bottom there, you can see there's like some actual compost mixed in there with all these uncomposted eggshells. But that's fine because we're not going to plant straight into this. It doesn't have to be ready. We're going to spread it out, stomp it down, and put some finished compost soil mixture on top and just let it break down over time. I don't even know what I'm going to plant in this bed. All right, Annie has stomped down the compost. We raked it out. I think it looks pretty good. There's still lots of room in this. I think we're going to take about 2 bags of our soil to get this as full as the celery bed, and it will lower over time. And I have no idea what we're putting in it. What should I put in it? We have lots of stuff left over at the plant sale, so I'll probably just put a variety of things. So lots of peppers, I have some Space Master compact cucumber plants that I can put in there. I don't know, we're gonna have to finish it, and then we need to fill all those beds. How much more compost is there, Annie? A lot. Okay, so we probably have that much a couple more times, and then I'm really not concerned about this being the best soil ever. I'm concerned about it being inexpensive and using what we have, and then we will improve it over time. It's going to take a lot of weeding because all of this dirt has all sorts of nasty weeds in it, and we're going to have to cover crop it in the winter and try to improve it that way. And I think I already mentioned this, we're going to add sunflowers even with our peppers and stuff as a kind of cover crop. We're going to try some miniature sunflower varieties that will just grow with the peppers. We'll see. I bet it'll be pretty. All right, so I am back in the garden today. I filmed most of the earlier part of the video yesterday, talking about raised beds and planting over by my celery. And what else did I plant? You just watched it, you would know. So other containers we have in the garden, we have our raised beds there. Before we had those, we got these tubs, which I've talked a little bit about the tubs and placement and all of that in a couple of previous videos, and now I'm planting in them. I usually plant sweet potatoes in them, as I mentioned before, and I've got some sweet potatoes over here. So I'm going to add this. This is borage. It looks pretty sad. It doesn't really like to be started in containers, but it's about to bloom, and some of them are already blooming, and it's a really good pollinator flower. It's an edible flower. So I'm just going to kind of interplant it with my sweet potatoes and some of these other containers. And I'm going to walk over here to tell you why I'm doing that. So I planted a little bit of borage in the garden last year, and this is borage, and this is borage. And you can see this looks really different than what I just showed you in my little pots. This is volunteer borage. There is also volunteer borage over here in this area, and this is doing so much better than what I started in containers, and it reseeded. There's also dill in here, and there's some dill growing in there because I grew dill all down here last year. There's not very much, just a couple, but I'm going to keep planting them in the places where they were happy enough to come back. That reminds me I need to pick peas. I'm going to have to do that before it gets dark. Okay, so we have our basil. I'm going to walk over back to our tubs over here. I have some, I already harvested most of it, so I've been talking about my volunteer cilantro here and there, and all of this chamomile. So I'm going to let these chamomile bloom here. I'm not going to cut all the flowers off, and I can almost guarantee it's going to grow back again. There's also chamomile here, so it'll grow back somewhere. But I'm shooting for getting it to grow in the tubs every year, especially the cilantro, because I also have a hard time growing that in the greenhouse because it bolts super early. So I've got more cilantro over here that is flowering already, and it's not looking that great, but it'll flower, it'll make seed, and I will let it do its thing, and it'll come back. Usually it comes back in the fall and in the spring. Oh, here's one of my little borage flowers. They're so cute, and they smell like cucumbers and taste like cucumbers. So anyway, I'm gonna put borage, cilantro. I have a bed of parsley here, But I'll probably just cut that. I've got a rosemary tub, and I have more dill, but I'm thinking with the dill that I'm just gonna keep planting it in the ground like I did over here. It gets pretty tall. We'll see how it goes. I like to have that stuff spread everywhere. Oh, look, our beans are coming up more today. You can see them. I have I have 6 of these tubs up in my flower field too, and I don't plant cut flowers in those because it just doesn't work to plant things you want to get really tall in those, unless they're sunflowers. You can plant those in there, but beside the point, I planted borage, toothache plant, and a few miniature sunflowers in those containers. I'm hoping again that they will bloom, even if they don't look that great this year, reseed, and we'll have volunteer plants coming up next spring. I guess I should mention too part of why I have all of these overgrown greenhouse grown seedlings is because of my plant sale and Start CSA. In case you haven't followed my other videos, I grow way more than we need because I sell a lot of it, and I don't know, it just works better for me to overdo it. So what I don't sell, this is what happens to it. I experiment with it. I try to plant it in my garden. Okay, not the most beautiful planting job. I am going to add some more stuff to this. Probably not to these two, but oh, and look, I forgot one right there. The pigs are going nuts tonight. Apparently the dogs and the pigs are going nuts tonight, but I did figure out why the pigs are freaking out. It's because they were just weaned today. So that's all for tonight. I will see you next time. I'm gonna pick my piece.